Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. We kickstart a brand new day with plenty of stocks that you need to keep on your radar. Let's get our research team on board very quickly. But first up, Nigel's going to tell us why he's watching Vedanta. Nigel?
Well, there's some relief coming for Vedanta Resources, which is the parent of Vedanta Limited. So that's why we're looking at Vedanta Limited. Now, Vedanta Resources, their Zambian mine, that's the Kola copper mines, that's KCM. That's been reinstated. Remember, they were in a conflict with the Zambian government, but now that seems to be resolved, and they're going to get control back of this particular mine. In this mine, Vedanta Resources has closed around 79.4% stake. The remainder is with the government of Zambia. In terms of the details of the mine, well, they have reserves as well as resources of around 16 million odd. The copper grade is relatively higher in comparison to the globe. And also, it's in line with Vedanta's strategy to vertically integrate in copper. How does it help the listed entity, Vedanta Limited? It's good for Vedanta Resources, but how does it help them? Well, it makes Vedanta Resources more capable of meeting their obligations. That's their debt obligations. How is that? In the next 18 to 24 months, you'll see this mine that will start. It'll give them some EBITDA, so they could service part of their debt by themselves without depending on Vedanta Limited. And the other factors, maybe they could look at probably selling this asset as well. That's the question mark out there. We'll have to still wait for official details about how much capex they'll be incurring to restart this asset. But for the time being, Vedanta Limited expected to open up in the green because the parent, Vedanta Resources, is more capable of honoring the debt obligations. So going with green.
Okay, and I'm going with green for Bharat Forge as well because there's some data that has come through on the North American truck market. Bharat Forge gets about a little over 10% of their revenues from the North American truck market where they provide forgings. And over there, the data is looking quite good. In fact, on a month-on-month basis, it's a 14% rise that we've seen in the Class A truck orders. And that's a 5-month high that we've seen in the August orders for, the entire North American region. So a lot of these companies could be in focus, whether it's Bharat Forge, a couple of the other forging companies as well. But the important bit for Bharat Forge really is what's happening in the defense space and the order wins over there. And that's the reason the stock has seen such a big spike, is at a fresh 52-week high. Not just yesterday, but if you pull up a one-year chart, you'll see the kind of outperformance. So going with green on Bharat Forge yet again today. But let's hop across to Mangalam. He's tracking Bikaji and Safari Industries. Mangalam, why is that?
Well, you snack and you pack your luggage. The reason why I'm tracking that is because of a couple of large trades that took place. Lighthouse India Fund sold about half of their stake in Bikaji. They held about 2.7%. Yesterday in a large trade, they sold 1.3% of that at 480 rupees per share. And the buyer was Plutus Wealth Management. They bought about 0.54% stake. The remaining buyers, we don't know. The stock ended higher, so assume that, the remaining buyers were strong as well. Important to know whether Lighthouse is looking to sell the other part of their holding as well or not. The other one is Safari Industries. The stock has been on a tear, and yesterday there was an entry of a fund. SBI Life Insurance bought about 1% equity in the company. On the sell side was Investcorp PE Fund selling about 0.9% of their 1.2% holding in the company. Again, here the question is, are these sellers looking at a clean out trade or not? But from the way their selling has been absorbed, it's telling you that there is fair amount of demand for both these counters.
Okay, Mangalam, thanks very much for that. Well, more stocks with news flow. Surabhi is here with that list. Surabhi, morning.
Morning. So first on my list is Tata Power. Tata Motors Limited has partnered with Tata Power Renewable Energy to develop a solar project in their Pune manufacturing facility. Power Grid, the company has been declared as the successful bidder for a transmission project in Rajasthan. NBCC, the company has signed an MOU with the Kerala State Housing Board for a project worth 2,000 crores. So order wins for all of these three companies. Apart from that, Voltas is also on my radar. Noel Tata has spoken to ET and he says that in the medium term, their aim is to be amongst the top 3 consumer brands in India. The company has partnered, as we know, with the world-class distribution company Beko, and this is to enable to offer the best products. The market share in the room ACs has been declining in the last 3 quarters, he said, but it is on a stabilized level now. They also want to be a leader in the entire home appliances space that includes like dishwashers, refrigeration, and the washing machine space, etc. Apart from that, Motilal Oswal has also initiated coverage on Voltas with a target price of 1,000, so that will also be on our radar.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. So lots of stocks in focus this morning, but the big headline globally really is what's happening in the world of crude. Crude is now at a 10-month high. Manisha is joining in to tell us all the reasons behind this recent surge. Manisha, hi, good morning.
Morning, Sonia. Thank you for that. Well, yes, a 10-month high is now for the crude prices, and we are trading above $90 a barrel. Well, Saudi Arabia extending the 1 million barrel per cut till December end is something that the markets were not working with. At max, the belief was that they will extend it for the month of October. But until December will definitely create some tightness in the international markets. Not just Saudi Arabia, but Russia also has extended its export curve till December end by 300,000 barrels per day. So the markets are taking support from that. So, even if India is buying less and China demand is not improving so much, this kind of a supply cut coming in from Saudi Arabia and Russia is giving tightness into the markets. So we have seen prices jump up even as the dollar index is trading at a 6-month high, and we haven't seen the economic data come in so strong from Europe. The street believes that if these cuts in actual on-ground happen, then we are looking at even higher prices, and 90 could sustain for a longer time.
Okay, all right, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's do a quick recap then of all the top stocks that we just covered for you, and all of them, by the way, have positive news flow. Vedanta, Bikaji, Safari Industries, Tata Power, NBCC, Power Grid, Voltas, ONGC, Oil India, and Bharat Forge. While there is no stock in our top 10 list that we're expecting to react to negative news flow. Those are the top 10 stocks, but Surabhi has been reading up all this morning about the various brokerage notes that have come in there, and she selected a few of them to update us. Hey, Surabhi, morning.
Morning. So first on my radar is a note on Reliance by Jefferies. They have a buy rating with a target price of 29.50. Now, they say the strong Chinese demand and the speculative positions in diesel have rallied, and that will aid the refining margins. Refining strength and Chinese real estate stimulus will cushion the O2C earnings in FY24. They think the valuations are favorable after the 7% correction from the recent peaks. They have also written on ABB India. They have a buy rating over there as well with a target price of 52.60. They say that a target market of $11 to $12 billion is growing across segments, and the growth is beyond the tier 1 cities as well. They maintain that the infra and the industrial capex should see a 16% compounded growth in the next 3 years versus 6% from FY11 to FY20. They say the strong ordering outlook should ensure companies' execution, and it will drive a double-digit growth. They expect the EPS compounded growth rate to be over 40% in the next 3 calendar years. Apart from that, as I said earlier, Motilal Oswal has initiated coverage on Voltas with a target price of 1,000 rupees per share. They expect the RAC segment's market share to be at 21 to 22% levels in FY24 and FY25. The Voltas Beko losses continue, but strong revenue traction is visible from that. EMPS segment to recover, aided by the strong order book, and the long-term positives are going to outweigh the near-term challenges according to them.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Surabhi. In fact, Voltas, from the lows that we saw post its results, the stock is up nearly around 8.5% or thereabouts. Well, the other stock that I'm looking at is Jio Financial Services. And in the last many days, the Nifty 50 had 51 stocks. But that's set to return back to 50 stocks. This says Jio Financial Services will be excluded from the NSE indices from tomorrow itself. Why is that? Because in the last couple of sessions, the stock didn't go to circuit, which is one of the criteria out there. And we here at CNBC-TV18 on our, on the channel yesterday as well in the closing bell, we made this point, and even on our social media channels, we have been, making this point that it's a high likelihood that Jio Financial Services will exit the Nifty. Remember, it's the financial services arm of Reliance Industries. It was spun off on July 20th, but it started trading on August 21st. So in all of this period, we have had 51 stocks on the Nifty. How do we view trade today? Well, the stock could be more or less flattish to kickstart trade, but in the final 30 minutes, we'll see some passive funds that will sell. And Nuvama, they've come out with a note, and they, in fact, have quantified that. In the last 30 minutes, there'll be nearly around 10.5 crore shares that could see some kind of rebalance. So there'll be some selling on that front. We saw this when it went out of the Sensex as well. And today is the time for the Nifty. So today's the last day it trades out there. Tomorrow, the Nifty 50 returns back to 50 stocks.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Nigel. Let's do one thing. We have so many questions for our guests, so let's take a short break. Up next, Deven Choksi will be joining in, the director of DR Choksi FinServ, for some fundamental stock analysis. We will also bring you an exclusive conversation with Prabha Narasimhan, the MD and CEO of Colgate-Palmolive India. Stay tuned.